Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin is one of those Democrats. She's been traveling her state, talking with voters in various red districts, and she joins me now. Senator, first, let me just ask you, as someone who, I think is a quite adept politician insofar as you have won multiple elections in a very narrowly divided state that has a bunch of different constituencies, urban, rural, everything in between. What are you hearing? What is your read of the mood of folks in Wisconsin at this point, this summer?
Thank you, Chris. And yeah, I'll remind you that I just won re-election on the same ballot with Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Yeah. And so I'm very mindful of that evenly divided state. And what I am hearing from voters as I travel all over Wisconsin is that they feel betrayed. They feel like Donald Trump ran on the platform of understanding their issues of rising costs of food, of fuel, of healthcare, of childcare, of housing, and he was going to fix it. And what they're seeing right now is that every action he is taking is making it worse. The big, beautiful bill, now law, is going to throw 15 million people off health care. It is going to drive the cost of health care for the rest of us up because of that. He is doing, with his trade war and his tariffs, really harmful things to American families, to our farmers, to our manufacturers, to our small businesses. And why? So that he could rig the system even more and send all these tax benefits to the very ultra wealthy and big corporations. People are feeling angry and betrayed, as we're hearing in these town hall meetings. And I'm showing up in places across the state on these very specific issues: rural health care, the cost of childcare in our childcare deserts. And people are angry, but they're also fearful about what's next. And they are angry that the system is rigged against them, and figuring out how they are going to speak out through whether it's town halls or getting ready for the midterm elections.
You're in the district of a Republican Congressman, Derek Van Orden, and I want to play for you something he said. He was very cross-pressured. He's in a fairly competitive district. It's also a district where people really do rely on Medicaid and rely also on the health infrastructure that is funded by Medicaid, because rural hospital systems depend on that. This is what he had to say. This is back in March, when he sort of made this vow he was going to protect rural health care. He would not vote against the interests of the folks in his district who depend on the hospital system here. Here's what he had to say.
I have very, very few hard lines when it comes to these issues that we talk about regularly. One of them is this, that I've been crystal clear with the leadership in the House here. If during this budget reconciliation process, they're going to try to cut rural health care, I am not on board. I will not be on board with a package that if anybody is trying to cut any type of rural health care, it's just not going to happen on my watch.
Do you think he kept that promise, Senator?
He absolutely did not. And look, the outcome of the big ugly bill, now law, is that we will see people lose their private health insurance that they purchased in the Affordable Care Act marketplace. We will see people lose their Medicaid, for which they are eligible, because of the red tape that they're going to put in front of eligible recipients of Medicaid. And we will see rural critical access hospitals have to drop services, or sometimes there's several in Wisconsin that are in jeopardy of closure. And I'm not trying to instill panic among folks, but we have seen critical access hospital, one after another, stop providing obstetric and maternity care. We have seen them drop mental health services and behavioral health services. We have seen them have to drop the type of services that are not profitable to their hospital, because that's the only way that they can make ends meet. And that is going to be exacerbated by the bill that was just passed. And nobody could have been looking at this measure and not understanding that they were taking away, stripping away health care from their constituents in order to give big tax breaks to people who don't need them.
Final question for you on something that I think has flown under the radar a little bit and used to be a very bipartisan issue, which is just disaster relief. This administration has executed a total revolution in essentially removing the federal government from playing any meaningful role in relief. They have been blocking disaster declarations that would uncork money for those places. They basically told a state like Texas, you're kind of on your own. FEMA's not doing this anymore. At the same time that we've seen more and more climate change associated weather disasters, including 1 in 1,000-year flooding in your state. What is that? You have worked with many different administrations. This is a routine part of being a senator, is unlocking disaster declarations and money. How different is this now than what you've experienced before?
Well, I have to say people are frightened. We had literally a 1,000-year event in southeast Wisconsin this past a week ago. And we saw areas of the city and county of Milwaukee receive 14 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. And people are seeking help for their individual losses, and communities are dealing with losses that they didn't budget for. You don't budget for a once-in-a-thousand-year event. And so they need the partnership of the federal government and FEMA. They are doing everything they're supposed to do to make the assessments of damage and getting ready for FEMA officials to come to Wisconsin this week to check on those assessments and go out and inspect the damage. I expect this president to issue the declaration that he needs to unleash these funds. And I can tell you, I will work tirelessly with the entire congressional delegation to make sure that those who have suffered just egregious damage because of this event get the support that they need.
And we'll stay on that story, Senator Tammy Baldwin. Thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.